Hello there, and welcome to Real Reviews. My name is Jameson Rabbit, and the man seated next to me was the inspiration for Jar Jar Binks. His name is Mike Roth.
I had my ears surgically reduced, right, and because they were big and floppy at one point.
Yeah?
They got caught in my my pod racer.
So many hijinks.
I know. And then I became a Sith Lord. It's
Oh,
a side
I've
story.
heard about this.
Yeah. And, well, then this thing came along, so I
You used to
decided
say, we gonna die? So
truthfully,
funny.
I hate that guy.
What?
I really,
He
no,
really
I'm not
holds
a big
up.
Jar Jar Bink. No.
I think you're missing out, man. He's the best part of the saga.
I like the...
People like Boba Fett and Harrison Han Solo. It's all Jar Jar around this place.
I like that sub story about Jar Jar where he's actually a Sith Lord and he was pretending to be stupid. He's like a drunken master of some sort type martial arts.
Master.
But still his voice is grating.
I'm with you on that one. All right. Speaking of grating voices, we have some fun on the marquee this week, and I'm just going to get us started. We have a movie called The Disaster Artist.
And I feel like this is an exclusive for us because it doesn't come up for another 2 weeks.
Yeah, we kind of lucked out. We got to see this a couple weeks early, so we're going to give it to you. The Disaster Artist is an A24 picture, so right away we like that. And it is written, directed by, and starring James Franco. It is based on it's based on the book The Disaster Artist, which is based on the movie, the 2003 movie The Room. If you don't know what The Room is, it is a movie written and directed and starring Tommy Wiseau, who is a noted crazy man. He's a character unto himself.
And you can see this on YouTube.
It's on
but
YouTube.
Really suggest to go to the theater and watch this.
Yeah. And so The Room, noted for being just a terrible train wreck of a movie that became this cult classic. And then Greg Sestero, who worked on that movie, who was one of the stars of The Room, wrote the book, The Disaster Artist, and here we are. The movie takes us back to the meeting of Tommy and Greg and how they were kind of drawn to each other. And as I said, Tommy Wiseau is played by James Franco. Greg, played by his little brother, Dave Franco. The first time these two have worked together in a movie.
Which I found a little...
Little off-putting?
Yeah, a little off-putting.
Tommy Wiseau is an enigma. He is... Sometimes watching him work, you wonder whether he's eccentric or just plain crazy. Everything about him is a mystery. How old is he? Where did he get his money? Where is he from? Where does he come up with these ideas?
Well, he's from the South.
He's from New Orleans. Just all these things about him, and the two of them decide we need to make a movie. Hollywood's not going to make the movie that we want to make. Let's make it. And the thing is with Tommy, and James Franco kind of captures it perfectly, is his presence, his aura. He's got this weird speech pattern. Everything about him is just a little different than everyone else.
A lot different.
He's very self-assured. Tommy never hears no, even though it's said to him a lot. Tommy never hears the no that's said to him.
Some of the things I feel like he was just birthed right before the movie, because there is some things that every person should know by the age of 12.
Yeah.
But Tommy's just totally oblivious. And I'm talking about the real life.
Yes. And that's the thing is this movie is, it's very much art imitating life.
Yeah.
What's weird about it is it's a movie about these characters, these two guys who failed magnificently at making a movie.
Yeah.
And just like people do every day. Every day somebody's out there making a movie and it fails spectacularly. But these guys got this cult status to where now big name Hollywood people are like, I love how bad their project was. I want to recreate that.
And this is not like Sharknado bad, where Sharknado they mean
that was
for
all
it to
tongue
be
in
bad.
cheek. Yeah.
Where this guy, he wanted to make a masterpiece.
Yeah.
This was his heart and soul. And I liked how this movie that we watched portrayed that he's putting his heart and soul in it. He was crushed when he found out the truth.
And now he's embraced it.
But now he's embraced it. Because
that's what I meant to do.
So many people happy.
Right. And so, both of them are big dreamers. The movie focuses, you really start to see the insanity of what happened, the creative process that brought us to The Room. And everyone that's working with him, and just like, what is this guy doing? And there's all kinds of things going on. And ultimately, you have the breakdown in the relationship between Tommy and Greg, and just it's so funny, but not like laugh out, like ha ha funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird, and you have a lot of comedic actors in this movie. It is a huge cast of cameos of different people, but you also have Josh Hutcherson from PETA from Hunger Games in this movie in a main role. Zac Efron, Alison Brie, Seth Rogen, Jason Mantzoukas. I mean, it's a bunch of people.
If it's a James Franco movie,
you're gonna have a Rogen.
You're gonna have a Rogen. Yes.
Absolutely, but he's not. Rogen isn't just like the real super corny, like ha 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 ha.
And I like that.
He's got funny lines.
Yeah.
But he is an actual character in the movie.
Yeah.
And that was kind of interesting to see.
I liked it. It kind of reminded me of back when he did like 40-Year-Old Virgin, where he wasn't trying for the gags. It's just what he said was funny. And then once he had a little control over his material, I started disliking him a little bit more.
Right. There you go. America agrees with you on that. There's just so much to like about this. And I think, I don't know about you, I think you have to see The Room to appreciate this. Like, you have to watch The Room to really get a lot of what's going on in this movie and to appreciate what's going on.
And that made our scoring on this a little difficult because we really appreciated the original content. And when you're watching it, it's kind of like seeing the cameos. You're like, oh, I know that scene. That's from there. Oh, my gosh, that's what he was thinking when this creative process. This is what this cast in the background was thinking when these scenes were made.
There's a lot of inside jokes.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm thinking, so this is going into theaters. There's a lot of people that won't see The Room. They'll just go, oh, I like James Franco. I'm going to go see this. And I'm wondering what the reaction is going to be to that.
Yeah.
You're like, what was all this about?
And just let everybody know, when we went to see The Room, it's like a Rocky Horror Picture Show. There's footballs that are flying all around. We had a couple of casualties in your concession selections.
It was a lot of fun.
Every time you see a spoon, you throw a spoon.
Right. It has become that level of a cult movie. The Room has. And what's interesting, some of the most interesting things about The Disaster Artist for me was, first off, watching the Franco brothers work together. Kind of off-putting at some moments.
Yeah.
Dave Franco's beard is kind of laughably bad in this movie. Like, I could still see the spirit gum drying. But it was also really interesting because at the end of the movie, they show side-by-side shots of The Room and their remakes of The Room.
Yeah.
And the eye for detail that they put into these. Like, I want to believe that when the Blu-ray comes out, that there will be an entire remake of The Room starring this cast.
I would love that.
Because their eye for composition and detail and every cadence of speech was just spot on. And you could tell that these are people who really loved that movie.
Yeah.
Like, they're not making fun of it.
No, they're celebrating it.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that I love about this movie. I was really hoping that it wasn't going to be something where they're just constantly making fun of Tommy.
Yeah. Wasn't that stupid?
No, but they're recreating it. He's a fascinating character. He's also funny, but it's more fascinating. Unintentionally.
And there's a great scene that we got, I hope it's in the theatrical release, with Franco and Tommy in real life. And Franco in character as Tommy.
And Tommy as somebody else.
Oh, it's just so much fun. So what did you end up giving The Disaster Artist?
I give it a 4. I probably would have gave it higher, but I kept in mind that I watched The Room, and therefore I adjusted my score to it.
Yeah, I was kind of all over the place. Like, 3.5, 4.5. And so I landed with you. 4 stars. It's a fun movie.
Yeah.
It's really enjoyable, and it's accentuated if you see The Room and enjoy The Room. I think you'll definitely really enjoy this.
And definitely see The Room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? Even if you're watching on your laptop, going on YouTube, whatever it takes, watch that. But if you can get that experience of the midnight movie madness.
Or if you could go online to Tommy Wiseau's site, you could also
get some underwear.
Get underwear with your movie.
Why
Honest,
not?
It's not a joke.
Why? All right, so changing gears, what do you have next for us?
I have the one that toppled everybody on the weekend. We were talking about Coco, the animated Pixar Disney film that just came out. It kind of feels like it came out really late. It's about the Day of the Dead. Miguel, he's voice acted by Anthony Gonzalez. He is a boy who loves music so much. It's in his soul. But for some strange, odd reason, his entire family banned music. You can't listen to it. Generations. It's about 3 generations of banned music. It's a curse.
Don't even hum around Grandma.
No. She chases away people if they're playing too much music around the house. Well, Miguel, he doesn't understand this. It's in his soul. So it almost looks like he fashions his own guitar, and he gets really good at it. And he idolizes his hero, Ernesto de la Cruz, who is an extremely famous musician that was generations before him that just made a mark on the town. He even got a statue. Well, the problem gets in with... his guitar is smashed. He wants to join this competition, so he decides to do a little grave robbing. Grabs Ernesto's guitar, and at the first strum, he finds himself teleported to the land of the dead, the second stage of the life cycle, where he meets all his relatives, and pretty much what he needs is a blessing from a family member in order to get back to the land of living. But all his family members hate music and tell him he can't play it anymore. So he's on the quest to find who he believes is his father, who is Ernesto. So this movie is absolutely beautiful. When talking about color, this is vibrant. This is one of the most. It is extremely lush, extremely deep. And a funny story. I felt like it was a little too late in the season, but I did enjoy this movie. What do you think?
Yeah, it was interesting to me. I liked the characters in this movie. Like, I liked watching Miguel go through this. I thought Ernesto, voiced by Benjamin Bratt, I thought he was interesting. I really liked Hector, the guy he met in the land of the dead, who was kind of his guide helping him through, voiced by Gael Garcia Bernal. I thought he was a lot of fun. He was a really interesting character. And there was things to like. I think, like you say, visually it was beautiful.
Every time they had the spirit guide animals, or
animals have like these really strange attributes in the dead.
It's a lot like the sugar skulls that you see around the holiday, but they're on the animals, and they are a vibrant black light type color popping out. Amazing to look at, and the detail of the city is also amazing. You could tell they spent a lot of time making this city so you could pan out and actually not see that much because there's so much going on in the background.
Absolutely. And the movie is about, the Day of the Dead is a time for remembering those who have passed on.
Yeah.
And that even in this, even being dead, if you are forgotten in the living world, you die in the dead world.
Yeah.
You
That's
disappear.
The third stage.
Yeah, and there you go. And so it's all about trying to be remembered. And there's a lot of that. My issues with this movie, though, unfortunately, were I thought that Ernesto de la Cruz, I was hoping for something more than just a real mustache twirling villain, and that's kind of what happened. There was a lot of mustache twirling. I thought that we've gotten a really underrated version of this movie a couple years ago with Book of Life, which I think is an unsung great movie, and that deals with very similar topics, and I really love that movie.
I think out of the two, I like this one better.
Yeah.
But visually, I thought this was more exciting than Book of the Dead.
Yeah, I was hoping for more than the predictable characters that I got. And
the plot ending was pretty much grabbed once you saw. Well, I'm not going to say it, but really.
I mean, you see it coming from a long ways away, and it's a kids movie, but usually Pixar movies, they're known for being having more depth, and so I enjoyed it. I don't think it was I don't think it's in the upper echelon of great Pixar movies. Now, this is from director Lee Unkrich, who's done Toy Story 2 and 3, Finding Nemo, Monsters, Inc.
Yeah.
So he's had some of the heavy hitters in the Pixar universe, but also some of those that aren't my favorites as well. I'm not a Finding Nemo guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, ultimately, I gave the movie 3 out of 5 stars. I think it's a middle-of-the-pack Pixar film.
I I enjoyed myself. I didn't think it was the best. I gave it a 3.5. I liked it a little better than just liking it.
Now, there was also the usual Disney short that plays before them.
Oh, boy.
And you're used to your Disney
that.
short. Now, this one was the Olaf Christmas short, where he's trying to find tradition for Elsa and Anna. But you're used to your Disney shorts are usually like 3 to 5 minutes long. This, I don't know exactly how long.
Half hour. It was a half hour. It's the longest one since 1990.
It wasn't a half hour.
No, it was.
No, it was 20 minutes, I bet. Because it felt like it was an entire television episode.
The last time they had a featurette that lasted that long, it was for Rescuers Down Under in 1990. And it was a half hour.
This thing dragged
and
on.
I'm not a big Frozen fan.
Yeah.
And just to have the entire half hour just consumed by Olaf trying to gather traditions for... I didn't care.
Yeah.
I wanted my movie to start.
Weird choice. But so if you have a Frozen fan, take them to this and then check out.
I'm assuming that's probably why it came so late.
Yeah.
But you might as well throw in Frozen. Now it's a Christmas film.
Absolutely. All right, the next film we have on the marquee is a new film from, I think, first-time director Greta Gerwig. Greta Gerwig has kind of served as the muse for Noah Baumbach for a bunch of movies. Most of her career has been spent working with director Noah Baumbach. Now she's branching out. She's got a story to tell. Another movie from A24. Lady Bird is what we're talking about. Saoirse Ronan plays the title character, Lady Bird. She is a high school girl who really just wants to live an interesting life. Escape the tedium, escape Sacramento. This is 2002 Sacramento. She wants to move to New York, live the artistic dream. And she's like any kid her age, she's kind of desperately trying to be interesting.
I wouldn't say really like any. She is interesting.
She's interesting, but I mean, she really is. The movie is a coming-of-age high school drama focused on this girl, and I mean, she has to deal with a lot of the things that most kids that age deal with. I mean, she's got self-doubt. She's got a lot of family issues, fears about her future, romantic entanglements, and just trying to find her place and who she is, really. I mean, the whole movie is her she meanders from different friends and different cliques and different romances, and it feels like she's just struggling to find out who Lady Bird really... I mean, Lady Bird isn't even her name. It's a persona that she's given herself.
Yeah.
And so the movie is kind of this high school girl just trying to create this persona and discover what that persona really is to her. She wants to be standout. She wants to be different. She discovers some like-minded people in drama club. Also kind of gets her first boyfriend in drama club, and she catches him making out with another guy. That kind of rocks her world for a minute. You also have the great Laurie Metcalf in this as her mom, and a lot of this movie is spent dealing with their issues, the mother-daughter drama. Both of them kind of battling with each other, I think, trying to get the other one to see their perspective on life and why you shouldn't treat me this way and you can't treat me that way.
Actually, that part of the story brought out some feels in me because it felt incredibly real, their relationship, and it took me back a little bit. A lot of the movie, though, I just thought it was so damn interesting. It really... The way it just reminds me of so many different things. I can't relate to the Catholic high school thing. Yeah. But everything else that you have to deal with in high school, getting to know people, trying to be popular or being yourself, all these little things. Not knowing
who you are. You're going through changes.
Yeah.
Chemically, emotionally, physically, everything.
I thought it was a great film. The only part that I had problem with is I thought Ronan was acting circles around people for quite a long time.
Especially when she got in with the other high school kids, like her friends, Beanie Feldstein, who plays her best friend Julie. The one thing I did like was Lucas Hedges in this as a guy in Drama Club. You know him as he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Manchester by the Sea last year.
Okay.
I thought he was a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, Saoirse Ronan is a tremendous actress. I mean, she was. If you saw her in Brooklyn last year, you know she's an amazing young actress.
Yeah.
And yeah, she was.
And it makes it off a little bit when you're seeing someone being so great and the other people just being good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This felt to me like it was very much a role that Greta Gerwig has been playing over the last 10 years. She's kind of played the same similar type of role. It feels like this was very personal to her. I didn't do a ton of research into, because it is kind of a love story to Sacramento as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's Sacramento heavy. So I was meaning to look and see, like, is this where she grew up in Sacramento and write this story and find someone who, find an amazing young actress to take this role. There's also her dad, played by Tracy Letts, who they have their own different dynamic. And her dad, I thought it was kind of interesting. Her dad wants to be he's the good cop in the relationship. He lets the mom battle. He hides a lot of secrets from his wife.
Yeah.
This guy has a lot of secrets. Like, oh man, I don't know how I deal with that if my spouse kept everything from me, basically, and made me look like the monster then.
But at the same time, the mom, she was upset with you. She kind of took some the silent treatment and stuff. That stuff really does hurt. And
I liked Lloyd Metcalf a lot in this as the mom. I liked her quite a bit. We haven't seen her on a big stage since Roseanne that I can remember. I mean, it's been a long time. She was Aunt Jackie on Roseanne, but it's been a long time. She was also
the voice of the mom in Toy Story.
You
got to see her legs.
She was in Scream 3 or whatever.
There we go.
But yeah, no, I liked getting to see her in this. I thought Saoirse Ronan was just breathtaking watching her in this. And then just the whole idea of searching for your identity and just not knowing who you want to be at that age, I really related to that. I did a lot of wandering too, like most people do. I think that's why it's such a relatable movie.
Yeah. The only thing that I couldn't really fully relate into was the Catholic, and I could gather a lot of people in the audience did, because they were like, oh, every time they had something, and it just right over my head.
Ultimately, what did you give Lady Bird?
I gave it a 4. I probably would have scored a little higher. I had a little problem with the beginning, just trying to get into the characters, and also I thought the acting was a little off compared to, they should have melded together a little bit better. But otherwise, it's a fantastic film. I wouldn't be surprised if Ronan gets a nomination.
She should minimum get a nomination.
Yeah.
And it's one of the best performances that I can, off the top of my head, that I can think of this year.
There's been a lot of good ones, though.
There have been. She was great. I gave it 4.5 out of 5. I was blown away by Lady Bird. It did leave me thinking, which is nice.
Yeah.
In a world full of popcorn movies and superhero farts, it left me thinking.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I enjoyed that quite a bit. What's the last movie we have on the marquee, sir?
We have Roman J. Israel Esq, directed by Dan Gilroy, written by Dan Gilroy. What we have is Denzel Washington. Sorry about that. He plays Roman J. Israel Esquire. He's a lawyer, kind of an activist, and he always roots for the underdog. But his type of lawyering really doesn't make that much money. And when his partner at his lawyer firm dies, the firm had to have been absorbed by another firm because it just makes nothing. The firm that picked up Israel's firm, they needed someone who was exactly like him. They needed someone who had heart, who went for the little guy, and also to unload a lot of cases they didn't really want to deal with. And Roman, he's having the difficulty of this transition. A lot of this is the growing, pretty much the rise and fall of his emotional state. This is at these later years in life, and times have changed. Activism has changed. The way people appreciate things have changed. This, I thought, was a really interesting film. It definitely wasn't like Nightcrawler, which was Dan Gilroy's.
One of the best movies of the last 5 years.
But that's kind of an unfair comparison.
Right.
Because that is a fantastic film. But I think this one really did have a good place. I liked how this movie went. It feels like a midlife crisis movie. Well,
and Roman he's a bit of a savant. I mean, he's not like everyone else. The way he thinks, he's got this abrasive style that doesn't quite work with most people. Even Colin Farrell, who's the kind of the slick, fast-paced lawyer who's bringing him in, they rub against each other the wrong way quite a bit through this movie. Denzel, they dress him frumpy. He kind of has this awkward gait about him as he walks. You know, he's from a different time. Just his style, everything about him, and that stuff worked. I enjoyed a lot of what Dan Gilroy is putting out here. You know, he makes this mistake that is very poor judgment, this illegal move that kind of sets the course of action for him. He sells out to be part of the system. He's cash poor. He doesn't know what he's doing with his life. He makes this decision to be a part of that system that's all about money and doesn't care about people as much. He kind of sells his soul in this movie. And you kind of watch how this is affecting him. And like you said, it's the rise and fall. And he starts to become part of what he hated before.
Yeah.
And the movie is kind of interesting watching him become kind of jaded towards the fallacy of purity, of how, you know, these young people, they don't even know anymore. That you want to be an activist, that's a young man's game. He suddenly turns on everything he's believed in his life. I like that. My issue with the movie is, first off, it felt like I saw this entire movie in the trailer. Okay. It felt like I knew every beat of this plot line in the trailer. And so I'm waiting for kind of swerves to come, and there really weren't a lot of those. That kind of frustrated me. And I was looking for a little more intrigue in the plot. Like, I enjoyed the character, but as far as the plot of the movie, of where Roman Israel was going in life, I wanted more out of that.
I think there was a pacing problem.
Yeah.
I liked where things were going. I liked the story, but it felt like it was taking too many hiccups to get to where they were going.
Right.
I did like Colin Farrell's character. I thought it was an interesting mix where you kind of make him look like that sleazy, high-priced lawyer, but that is a facade. Yeah, he's running a business, but deep down, he does care. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, he wasn't the caricature of the smarmy lawyer.
Yeah.
He had something to him. I think that there was just, it felt uneven. And unfortunately, I'm comparing it because I was excited going in because Nightcrawler was my favorite movie of 2014.
And I did
I'm like,
the same
yes,
thing.
Here we go. Denzel with Dan Gilroy.
Yeah.
This is going to be great. And it wasn't great, but it was good.
Yeah.
And nothing wrong with that.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with good. The problem is when you're expecting great. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What did you end up giving Roman J.
I give
Israel?
it 3.5. I thought it was better than good, but
Short of good.
yeah, little hiccups, bad pacing, but I did like the story. I really did.
I ended up giving it 3 out of 5. It's a good movie, a good performance. I think the performance outshines the movie. So I ended up giving it 3. We have no throwback this week because we had some movies that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So let's jump in real quick and take a look at what is going to be coming out the week of December 8th. There's a couple of movies. Well, first off, The Disaster Artist will be coming out then.
Yeah.
We were so excited to review it. So The Disaster Artist will be coming out.
Unfortunately, that week we're going to have one less movie than usual.
We also have Just Getting Started, the movie with Morgan Freeman, Tommy Lee Jones, Rene Russo, kind of a midnight run scenario going on. And we also have I, Tonya, the movie starring Margot Robbie, the Tonya Harding story.
And that looks hilarious.
It does look pretty great. Pretty great. So before we leave you, we want to thank our sponsor, Marcus Theaters, The Palace here in Sun Prairie. Thank you for sponsoring Real Reviews. We do appreciate it. We always enjoy a good Dream Lounger seat. I blanked on the name of it.
It's all right.
Dream Lounger seat at the Palace. We recommend you go there as well. Next week, we are going to be talking about 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri.
And hopefully more.
Yeah, I have Last Flag Flying. We got some interesting films, and who knows what else. It could get interesting.
Just to let everybody know, the next 2 weeks it's going to be a little dry, but then it's going to pick up again.
I see a list show in our future, Mike.
I do too.
I love them. All right, let's head out of here. Until next week, my name is Jameson.
I'm Mike Roth.
Thanks for watching.